What's going on, everyone? Um, I decided to, I guess, start incorporating part ones and part twos because there's probably going to be topics that we come back to from time to time. And given how my day went yesterday, I, uh, I don't know. I've got this D&D itch, if you will, and the thing for me is, um, you can talk about Brendan Lee Mulligan and you could talk about Matt Mercer and even go all the way back to fucking Gary Gygax. And one thing that I really enjoy hearing is that you can't force your characters to roleplay. Or your players, not your characters. You can't force your players to roleplay. And it's 100% true. You can't. You're going to end up chasing more people away from playing your game than actually trying to have them join. Because what'll end up happening is you're trying to tell someone who's uncomfortable with something that they have to do something. But that's not to say that they still can't make choices and decisions in like a role play fashion, but they just don't have to act it out. um, and that's something that I've never forced on any of the players. Even in my current campaign, what I'll do is I'll talk to them and say, okay, I want to go to Geldrin's magic shop and go get something. I'd say, okay, do you want to role play this or you just want to go there, get something, and get gone? Like, I just want to go there, see if he has this, and then if he does, buy it, or if I can afford it, buy it and then get gone. Okay, off we go. But there's come a, how to put this, almost like a want to role play. Like, I want to go talk to him. Like, okay, let's go talk to him. And then it tells me I have to turn into my Geldrin self and be my little gnome in charge of the magic shop. And they get the chance to go do that, but it's something that I allow, well, not allow, but if the players want to push for it, well, let's do it. If they don't, that's okay. I don't mind. Um, I think the only time I really get irritated when it comes to the players and their choices and decisions and things like that are when it's in combat. And I took kind of a page out of Matt Mercer's book, and if it's this person's turn now, I'll let whoever's next in the initiative line let them know you're up next. That way you can start thinking of what you want to do. Because an old adage for D&D is an 8-hour trip could take you 5 minutes to get through, but a 5 minute fight could take you 8 hours to get through. And that's 100% true. 100%. Because I don't know what this spell does, or I got to look up what the range is on this, or did I buy the components, and all this other kind of shit. And I'm just going, like, you were told what was going on. So if you had in mind you wanted to cast a spell, okay, get that spell ready. Or at least go see, ooh, all right, well, I can't do that. And sometimes I would say myself, what I would do is, for example, all of a sudden it's my turn and I'm going, well, shit, I wanted to do this, this, or this, but uh, I don't really want to hold up the line. So I'll just do a quick round of just basic attacks. And then I know I've got all this time to come back around again to see if I could do that. Because in most fights, you're going to get at least three rounds for just you. It's very rare that you're going to have a fight last one round. And if that's the case, well, either someone rolled really well or someone rolled really bad or both. And or maybe the DM just put something in there like you're level 10 and here's 4 goblins and you're just squish, 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 squish. But trying to work with one of my players, and been working with his ass for a long time on this, just trying to have him understand, this isn't just something that you can just go, oh yes, I will be good. I will be able to do this. I will be well, and I'll do this, and I'll be well. And I think I finally got to him yesterday after spending hours working on the right combination of words to say in the most perfect sentence to just have it click into his head. And I pulled him aside and we went to the nearby Creve Lake and took a walk and talked and sat down and talked and took another walk and talked. And one thing that I kind of wanted to get out of him is describe each of the characters in the party. I want you to go through, I'll give you a character's name, describe them. Give you a character's name, describe them. And during this conversation, he was just kind of going, well, I think if I'm going to stay in this group, they need to convince me that they're going to do good things, so I'll stay. Or they make me stay. And I'm going, there's 8 people in this fucking group. What do you mean, make you stay? What do you mean? I'm going, that's not how this works. So are you just not happy playing your character? Because it sounds like you're not happy playing the character. And he's like, no, I like the character. I'm saying, okay, well, when I asked him to describe his character, everything he talked about was later on this, and once he this, and he's going to, and I pointed that out to him. I said, do you realize every other character you had talked about, you talked about things that have happened, that you have seen, that you know that this is how this character goes. And I'll point out that in every description of every character, there was at least one thing he had gotten wrong. And I'm going, that's not true. Like, are you sure? Are you sure? Because I would ask that more than I would just go, you're wrong. Like, are you sure about that? Are you sure that this person does this, this, and this exactly? Yeah. Are you sure? Because what about this? What about this? What about this? Oh, well, okay. I'm going, this is why I asked you to tell me what the hell is going on. And it eventually got to the point to where we left and went back and had a conversation about, have you ever watched a movie that was also a book? And he said, yes. I said, okay, which one? He said, Hunger Games. I said, okay. And before I could ask him, he goes, but I never read the book. I said, okay, this is where your big problem is. And this is where I thought personally I had finally hit the breakthrough point and went, oh shit. This was a great thing. You nailed this shit. And I said, what you do is you play every game like the movie. Take it all at face value. And then you have whenever you watch a movie, you miss out on all the descriptions. You just see, here's houses at night. But what you don't know in the movie is it cold? Is it cloudy? Is it clear? Is it windy? Is it calm? Um, is it raining? Is it having a little bit of a drizzle? Excuse me. And then he brought up the Harry Potter. I said, okay. Harry Potter is one of the few that I've seen every movie and read every book. And the first Harry Potter movie followed very, very closely to the source material. Because they essentially went one book, one movie until you get to the Deathly Hallows. Because they're like, we got to make sure we touch on a lot of things. And then they switched things up. I said, when you play D&D, you really have to kind of look at you're trying to play the book and not watch the movie. Because you need those descriptors. And Kick brought up a point to where he was holding a candy bar and he goes, he took a piece of a Reese's stick out, took a bite, put it back in, and then just held it there, looked at him going, yum. That's how you play this game. And then he went and he verbally described everything. He goes, I pull out a piece of this chocolatey treat. I take a bite. I feel it melting into my fingers because my hands are a little warm, and I can taste the chocolate and the wafer and the peanut butter once you start getting in there. And I chew on it, and I just really relish in that sensation of taking a bite from this chocolatey dream in front of me. And then I place the remaining piece back into the package so that it doesn't keep melting all over my fingers. He goes, that's more what you have to do. And he had a reply, and I said, and me as a DM, I'm going, well, you mentioned the chocolate on your fingers but never did anything about it. So next time you pick something up, you might have a hard time holding it. And he goes, that's my fucking point, is you have to be descriptive on these things. Otherwise, you can give Pickle ammo to kind of swerve things a bit. So it then kind of hit me. I'm going, is this why my players are so cautious about what they say? Because I'll go, I see where you slipped up. Now I'm going to mess with you. And they're just so, like, that's why they have these meetings and committees, because I'll pick that small detail out. And I don't do it in a spiteful way. I do it in a, you need to be careful what you say, because if it's done in just the wrong way and you give me an out to do something else with it, depending on what I come up with, I may take that out. I may take that little slip up and do something with it. And it's not to punish you, but instead is to not have the game be so rigid. Because I could have just been like, okay, well, he eats the treat and then off we go. Well, what if you're not paying attention, your hand swipes on your armor, and you go into a dungeon where something has a keen sense of smell, and you all rolled 20s on your sneaking, so it can't hear you and it doesn't see you, but it can smell you. It knows where you're at from smell. Like, all of us had the astronomical, unlikely roll that all of us hit a nat 20 on stealth. So how the fuck did this thing find us? What are you talking about? He never cleaned his hands. Had the chocolate smell on it. Never said he licked his fingers clean. This creature has a heightened sense of smell. Smelled it. Like, fuck! But it's that kind of, you described everything you did, so I'm using your words, and I'm making something else from it. And creating a kind of scene that, you know, can raise a little bit of tension, and in some cases probably piss the players off. But I think at the same time, it also kind of creates a little bit of fun atmosphere. Be like, who the hell eats something with chocolate? It doesn't lick their fucking fingers clean. I mean, you're describing to me what you're doing, so you have to describe to me what has been done. And if you don't lick your fingers clean, they're going somewhere. So before you pick up your shield, or before you pick up your hammer, or you pick up your shield and your hammer, and now the scent is on them, you didn't clean those off. You didn't state that you cleaned it off. Those little meticulous details are things that I can use down the line to just kind of have a little fun with. And I understand that it kind of sounds like I'm just being an obnoxious asshole about it, but I really do think, and there's all these lines that you hear, like the devil's in the details. Well, there you go. There's a detail that was left out that I used. You know, I will sometimes go, so tell me exactly step by step what you did. And it'll kind of, and and I've learned this about playing D&D, is that you will have players then go, okay, step by step, I got to make sure I get every step right. So you had already described all of this, but then if I ask you to step by step tell me exactly what happened, did you clean your fingers from the treat? Well, if I ask you that if you cleaned your fingers, you're going to tell me, of course. Who doesn't? Have you seen how babies look when they eat food and it goes every fucking where over their goddamn face hole, but except their face hole? And then their hands, where they just grab the thing all willy-nilly, just go, I eat this. And then they'll open their hand, and there's more on their hand than there is in their mouth. They don't have those fine motor skills of holding it to where they can eat it properly and not spread it all over the place. And then you can also say that that's part of like a wisdom and intelligence. So if you have a lower wisdom or a lower intelligence, you might not be smart enough to wash your hands, which means that's another way that certain creatures or even monsters can pick up on that stuff. I know I mentioned this here before, but it's like when a nephew of mine rolled ridiculous for his fighter and bought full plate mail and all this other kind of shit, but his intelligence, I want to say, was like 5. He had a 3, a 1, a 1, and a 1, or something like that. I like his character. I was like, that's your 1 negative, and it's a doozy. Well, this is back when intelligence was just a dump stat. You just throw it in intelligence, who cares? But then us DMs started paying attention that players would just use intelligence as a dump stat, especially after 3.5, because there isn't a single thing that requires an intelligence saving throw. It's all turned into wisdom, unless I believe you're dealing with mind devourers and mind flayers. And I think that's just to resist their influence. Not 100% certain on that, but they were the only ones that I remember seeing that had anything to deal with an intelligence saving throw. 99% of all the spells in D&D are wisdom saving throws. 99%. The other is constitution, and then sometimes dexterity. A lot of influence spells and things like that now go to charisma. But there isn't a single strength saving throw or a single intelligence saving throw for any fucking spell. Doesn't exist. And I always thought that was kind of just doing a disservice because you say intelligence is a dumb stat. Well, you can, but then your character becomes stupid. And my nephew got mad whenever he was like, I'm level 1 and I got a 20 AC. You sure? Yeah. Plate mail, shield, all this kind of shit. 20 AC. What's your intelligence? 5. So you're smart enough to know how to put on all of your armor except your gloves, your boots, and your helmet. Right? You know where to strap all those things in? Because that would be an intelligence. You have to be smart enough to know the difference between a front thigh plate and a back thigh plate. To be the front piece of the armor, be the back piece, where to strap it underneath, around the torso, strap it underneath the arm. You got to be smart enough to know that. And your character is not. You're not even smart enough to use the shield. Because the shield has all kinds of little bits of like feathers from creatures and little bones and beaks and stuff like that stuck to it, because that's your plate. You're a giant behemoth of a man, so you have to eat a lot. You have berries that have their color stains on there. You have bits of carcass and sinew on this thing, and you just look at it as you hold it by the handle, and that's how you take it from one meal to the next. Your boots are fine. I'm going to have you roll a 50-50 shot to see if you can put the left one on the left foot and the right one on the right foot. The gloves you keep in case it gets cold, and you put those on, which we all know metal doesn't help with cold, but you're not smart enough to figure that shit out. But you don't wear them a lot because you can't feel what you're doing, but you keep them with you. And you'll put the helmet on, and you'll take it off when it gets hot. So, no, your AC is 16. Like, he was pissed, but I'm going, your intelligence is a dumb stat, but then you're a moron. And if you were thinking you could just run around and be fine and be an essentially a friggin' superhero, well, not so much the case. Because you're a dumbass. And that's just how that goes. He was not happy and ended up killing that character as quickly as he could. But I'm just going, at what point do you not realize that intelligence can't be a dumb stat because you need it to not be a dumbass? If anything, in my eyes, the dumb stat has always been the same. Since 3 and 3-5 and 5 and 5-5. Dumb stat is charisma. I mean, you don't need persuasion if you can have intimidation. Just saying. So, I mean, I wouldn't mind being an ugly bastard and face is all scarred up and shit and you're missing some teeth, or maybe your eye's milky and it still has the flayed cut on it that somehow you seared it shut so it didn't fucking just bleed everywhere. That's where I would lean. But that's just where I go. And then depending on what you want to play, you can sometimes have strength be your dumb stat. If you're going to be more of a wizard, sorcerer, warlock, the hell do you need strength for? You don't need to wield nothing. Don't neglect your dex, and there's your AC, so you're harder to hit. And don't neglect your caster stat. What the fuck you need to carry things for? Help us with this. I mean, what? What, you want me to help you punch a boulder like Leon in Resident Evil 5? Get out of here. Nope. I'll sit back. I'll take my -1, -2 to strength. I'm not trying to get up there and fight nothing. I just need to be able to pinpoint shit. Be able to have my mind help me out. What the fuck I need strength for? So, I also kind of applaud people that use dex as a dumb stat. I'm like, you are tempting fate like crazy, making dex your dumb stat. Nope. I'd probably have con be my dex or be my dump stat before I have dex. Nope. I'll sometimes make my wisdom whatever I have that's like a +1 or maybe like a plus nothing. I'll throw that to wisdom and go, that's going to be rough for a lot of spells, but we'll see. We'll let the die decide. And I think, as I went on my tangent like I always do, you guys should know this by now, I think mentioning the movie versus book really kind of clicked. And I even told him, I said, look, I've spent more time with your characters than you have, and that's not okay. I should not be working your character more than you. And you always have this thought in your head of this would be cool if, and this would be cool if, and this would be cool if, and this would be cool if. And I'm going, the last word of all of that before you give the description after this would be cool is if. You ain't got there yet, man. I don't know what to tell you, but you gotta have a character stick around and live long enough for you to actually give a shit about them. But you got to give a shit first. So if I tell you to describe what you're doing, or I describe what's happening, and you don't know what's happening or it doesn't quite click, always ask for clarification. Because, and we've learned this in our campaign, that I'll sometimes give a description for something, and there's very few times that someone will kind of take it the other way rather than the way it was meant. And I got so much shit flowing through my head right now. I can't even think what the hell I was said that he didn't understand. Oh, whenever his fighter had a busted ankle, and I was saying that it would take 3 weeks to heal, he thought I have to stay here for 3 weeks. And I went, that was never spoken. It's like you buy the more potent medicine, and the more potent it is, the less your healing time. The more diluted it is, the longer your healing time. But I never said something about we keep you here. But that's what he understood and didn't ask for clarification. It caused a whole big old stink. And I'm going, how are you thinking that this is going to be any damn different? What the fuck are you talking about? And it was because he thought he had to stay. And I went, I never said you had to stay. I never said we'll set you up in a room for 3 weeks and then after that you'll be healed. It was where I describe what's going on. And you think you have to stick around, then ask. Like that there's your perfect opportunity. If you're not quite understanding what the hell's going on, ask. Ask if this is what you mean. Or go, DM, why am I going to stay here for 3 weeks or 3 months to heal this wound? And I went, who the hell said anything about staying? It's just the potency of the medicine. Either you buy it watered down and it takes longer, or you buy it more pure and it takes less time, but it's more expensive. And that was one of those, here's the details. This is what I extracted, but I don't ask for clarification if what I extracted was correct. And I remember last time I was a player, like just a pure player, I was always kind of going, is this person giving off this vibe or this vibe? Roll. 18. They're giving off this vibe. Okay. do I think I can do this or this from them? Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to try this. And then go, what the hell? I'm like, but I'm setting up my questions to get clarification for something that I'm trying to do. And I understand brand new players. I get it. You're not at that part yet. But this was, I want to say 4 sessions in, and we usually play anywhere from like 7 to 9 hours per session. So I'm going, we've played for, you've had that character for more than 24 hours of actual play time. How are you not this connected with them? It's like, maybe it's because I've rolled so many characters in my time that whenever I get to the point where I'm talking about doing this for a character, doing that for a character, or this is the type of character I have in mind, or I want to play a character with this personality quirk. Like, again, I still want to play my accident-prone gnome wizard. I so desperately want to play one. It'll be so much damn fun. If any DMs see this that wanna have an accident-prone gnome wizard be part of their group, let me know. But I think that's because, I'll put an idea into my head and go, well, how would a character do that? How would a character do that? How would this character be able to? Okay, well, and I'll put through scenarios in my head and I'll have them hurdle those, and I think that's why I'm really enjoying the rogue that I'm playing now, because in context, he took an arrow through the throat and his vocal cords was damaged. That was not healed from the wound, which I had a quick moment in my head. I'm going, it's cure wounds that they cast, but is cure wounds just going to close it up, or does it restore to where it once was? Because if memory recalls correctly on this one, and I know one of my players watches my videos, I don't think that character spoke yet before the arrow came through his throat. He was questioned, and just before he spoke, the arrow struck and hit him in the throat. And so I don't believe he spoke, because I believe what I wanted to do was just shut down their interrogation right then and there. I'm going, nope, you don't get an easy pass on this, at least not yet. You've got to go farther down the line before you start getting answers for some of this shit. And I don't think he spoke. So prior to the wound, he never had any type of speaking dialogue. So his voice has never been known in the entirety of everything. I could be wrong. He may have had a couple of lines, but I don't think he did. So his voice has never been heard. And recently we had a scenario where I found out that one of the last creatures that the group fought was an Oni demon that can actually polymorph themselves as someone. And I just thought that was really, really interesting. Then I went, why the fuck didn't I use this before? I'm going to use this now. The group split. Some of them slept outside one spot. Some of them went out into the woods to just kind of go camping, and because they were all trying to get away from the inn and not cause any more scenes with the Wingless Kings. And they're like, no, we got to get away from them. So they just kind of abandoned the city proper altogether. And the Oni copied Bo, which is my rogue that has no way of speaking. And this was such a fun moment, especially for me watching this unravel. I'm like, oh, that was awesome. And it got to the point where everyone who was out there, with the exception of Shava and Bo with his goggles of night on, do not have night vision. One's a Goliath, one's a human, so they don't have night vision. So they had stoked up the fire to try and see farther out. And I'm going, you can really only go maybe about 15 feet out before the light of everything just dims. But because Shava rolled a 26 on her perception, she's looking out into the woods. She can see a shadow, and she can see another shadow go towards it, and then heard a thump, and then a shadow come out, and it's Bo. And Shava goes, hey, Bo, did you see what was out there? And Bo goes, no. Watching their faces, all three of them, just from one 2-letter word. Who are you? And I'm going, because the Oni wouldn't know that Bo never spoke, because he might have just been trying to be quiet. So he's not going to say anything. They were far enough away they couldn't hear a conversation going on. And so this one spoke, and they ended up knocking him asleep and chucking his ass over, tied up there, pissed poorly, and then went to go find where this thump had happened. I go walking back, and I see Bo again, and I gave the detail this time of, because the other one did not have the straps from his backpack on the first one that they had knocked out with a sleep spell. And this one did have the backpack, thinking that that's what was wrong with his companion as to what ended up happening. And so he's like, okay, the backpack, that has to be what gave it away. So I have his backpack now. And they once again, and they're a little bit more cautious this time, but they once again were like, hey, Bo, you okay? What did you see? Oh, man, these guys just came out of nowhere, and I chased a couple of them off, but I don't know where they came from. And Shava goes, fuck this noise, and did a fireball pretty much like point blank, and just blew everything to shit. The other Oni in the area is the one that came up and ended up doing some significant damage. And Shava got fucked up to the point of -8 hit points. And next thing you know, it was trying to have the three of us use our medicine skills to staunch the bleeding, and eventually one of them cast Spare the Dying, and she went to 0. But having that reaction to where someone that looks like Bo all of a sudden spoke, and them just kind of being taken aback, chef's kiss. So great. Another really great moment was naming one of the people in the Wingless Kings of Everest Sestra, and that was Kaysen's old rogue from the last time we were playing Roll20, and she wanted to retire that rogue and try a druid. But she had sent me the character sheet, and I have an entire D&D folder on my computer where I have all these PDFs of all different types of things, and my eyes came across that when I was coming up with the Wingless Kings, and I went, "Oh, I'm throwing this in there." And seeing her perk up and look at me like, "What?" Whenever I had said the name Everett Sestra, I said, "Hey, you gave me the character sheet. I figured we put some life back into her again, and we'll run from there." She goes, "All right." And then the other one was the Gnome Street Brawl. Um, was such an amazing experience to kind of have that go on as a DM doing Dungeons and Dragons. It was so fantastic. Um, One of the few times since we've been playing since last June that I was pissed that we didn't think to start streaming this earlier. But it was one of those really special moments that I really enjoyed. And I think having those moments and being able to help your players create a character that can enjoy those moments with them is absolutely what you have to do. Because those are the moments that I, as a DM, and I'm sure other DMs do as well, we live for. You know, I I made our paladin get mad or not trust me. He goes, "Because you're always trying to kill us. It's what you said." And I said, "Well, that is part of my job as a DM, is to try to kill you." But just like the AI in Alien Isolation, I I have one side that says kill them, and I have another one that says no, don't, let them keep going. But I always meet in the middle and just say, I'm not going to make it easy. When Shava almost died, and it was at -8 after the last hit from the Oni hitter, because they'll do slashing damage for a D12 and then 2d8 necrotic damage for every attack, and they get 2 because they got 2 hands. So knowing that I was this close to killing that character outright, but props to Kaysen because she didn't give a hint of this could go really wrong, really bad, depending, or really fast, depending on how attack and damage is rolled the next time around. She didn't give me any inclination. I didn't hold back. Bam, -8. And at the same time as a DM, I'm going, oh, shit, not like this. And she's just kind of going, it's part of the game. As much as I like the character and the background that I've built for her, that's part of the game. Sometimes you don't make it out. And I was like, all right. But it wasn't too much longer after that before that one was dealt with, and you know, we went forward and after that. But it was definitely one of those situations where having that information behind a closed door makes that scenario even more impactful. And I don't remember what YouTube short I saw it on, or who it was. It might have been Brendan Lee Mulligan talking about making, or it might have been with him, talk about making death saving throws in private. So you're at 0 or under, and you're rolling death saving throws. For those that don't know, you roll a 20 side, and if you roll 10 or lower, that's a failure. You roll an 11 or higher, that's a success. A crit fail counts for 2. A crit 20 counts for 2 successes. Crit 1 counts for 2 failures. So you could essentially roll twice, and your character's either fine or dead. you can roll probably a minimum of 3 on average, and fine or dead. Crit, and then just a regular number in that range. It says that you're either there or not. And I like the idea of rolling in private or having it just be, you know, roll just between the player and the DM. And the DM goes, okay, mark that one. And I was like, well, what the hell is it? Because whether you want to believe it or not, the average D&D campaign, there's a shit ton of metagaming. A shit ton. And I usually let some of it go just simply because depending on how new the players are, I want them to kind of get the idea of the thought process of everything. But as we go on, let's tone some of this stuff down. You, as someone who is not in the brain of this person, can't tell them what they do for their 6 seconds on this turn of combat because you don't know what's happening and you don't know what's coming up. And you could tell them something quick, like, behind you, duck, and that's it. Because you got to figure you have a 6-second window for you to see something, say something, them hear it, process it, and then react. That's about your 6-second window. It's no different than telling someone you got something right here, and they always go to that cheek straight across, so they'll go, oh, it's over here. No, it's over here. Right, it's over here. No, this is my right side. That is your right side. That is your left side. Not this is your no. And I always found that to be kind of funny that we as people do that, where if you got something on your cheek, people will go, oh, okay, I'll get rid of it. And I get it, because mirror perception is straight across. And anytime that you're head on head with someone, it's straight across. But you have to think it's still right side goes to your left side. No, it's your right side goes to my right side. And I've put it in my head to where someone says, oh, you got something over here. I'll go to my right side. And they're like, no, over here. Well, then why the hell did you do the other cheek? You're doing your left cheek, so I need to do my left cheek. Because your left hand went to your left cheek and is rubbing shit with your left pointer finger. So why the hell are you trying to tell me it's over on my right cheek when you're not using your right cheek and your right hand? Something similar, at least in my eyes. If I go forward to shake your hand with my right hand, you don't come up with your left hand that's directly in front of it, do you? No, you come up with your right hand. So why do we get our wires crossed on the other one? I don't get it. It doesn't make any damn sense to me. And now I've gone on a fucking tangent. I don't remember where the hell I was leaving. Anyway, good shit in D&D. And I think sprinkled in from time to time, I'm going to have something like this to where I'll give you updates on what's going on in our D&D campaign. We have talked about streaming it, but we haven't really made any concrete plans to go about doing it. We've put in a little bit of thought of how we would go about doing it and where the cameras would be and shit like that. And there have been plenty of times where, I think how Critical Role has it to where they're all at the same table, but they got a camera pointing in to get the one side. They got a camera pointing in to get the other side. They got the camera on the other end to point at Matt. And they got another one for the overhead thing. And like that's a lot of production. But the way that we play is we don't have, we don't all sit at the same table. Give me a new one. Really? Come on, work with me. Seriously? Oh, there we go. So the way we play is I have a table here, a table here, and a table here, and a whiteboard back here, and I sit here. And then Kason has a table right here, and another one right here, and she sits here. Kick has a table over here, and he sits here. And this is the wall of the basement. This goes elsewhere. This comes in. This goes back behind me. Then Kirby sits back here. Syraxis sits here. And Burrito sits here. And just because I have to, this is Kick's mountain of lights that he has every which damn way. And he says that it's hard for him to see, even though he keeps pulling everything away from him. I'm going, bruh, I get it. That's why I do reading glasses, man. My contacts are all kinds of fucked up. But this is where we sit, and there's another big, huge whiteboard back here that has some maps and information about names and shit like that on that back wall. And this is our setup. So you're thinking, like, is there going to be a camera here pointed at me? Oh, and sorry, I forgot to mention, there's a table here that is our combat table. And then food goes here. But this is our play area, and I'm going, so are you going to have like individual cameras? And then a camera over the top? And then is there going to be like another camera that kind of captures everything here, or tries to get as much of a group shot as you can, or maybe it's over here? Like, the amount of cameras we would need if you're wanting to get everyone involved in it is going to be a little too damn much, I think. And so, like, there was a lot of those things that were just going, like, it's a cool idea. I don't think it's something we can do because there's just no way to really pull it off with the way we have it set up. We're talking about changing the entire setup for everything if that were the case. And I just, I don't know if that's something feasible, but it is something I kind of would like to at some point be like, hey, this is what the hell's going on. But yeah, that's enough rambling about D&D for the day. Hope y'all are doing well. I'm working on something else that I'm hoping to have some information to share with you all. But it's not there yet. Keep posted. I'll keep you posted, and just give me some time, and I'm working on it. And we'll see if hopefully the we can do this. And yeah, y'all have a great day. Be safe, and see you soon.